An agreement this afternoon to put tariffs on goods from Mexico on pause. The tariffs were set to go into effect at midnight, along with tariffs against Canada and China. Those are still set to happen, causing the stock market to plummet.
Experts warn that if these tariffs go through, Americans could see price hikes on groceries, cars, and more. ABC's Reena Roy has the latest developments.
U.S. tariffs imposed on Mexico now on pause for a month after a conversation between Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and President Trump, in which they say a series of agreements were reached on security and trade. Sheinbaum says Mexico will reinforce the border with 10,000 National Guard troops to prevent drug trafficking, and the U.S. is working to prevent the trafficking of high-powered weapons to Mexico. The stock market opening more than 300 points lower as investors brace for tariffs to go into effect. Trump using emergency authorities to impose 25% tariffs on Canada with a lower 10% tariff on Canadian oil and gas. Eventually, Mexico may face 25% tariffs as well. China also hit with 10% tariffs on top of those already in place from Trump's first term. He argues the tariffs are a necessary response to the flow of migrants and drugs, including fentanyl, coming into the U.S. Claims all three countries reject.
This is retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada, and we're not going to allow that.
Over the weekend, Canada announcing its own 25% tariffs on more than $100 billion in U.S. imports.
The actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together.
Trump campaigns on a promise to lower prices for Americans, but economists warn this could have the opposite effect.
Fresh fruits and vegetables from Mexico, to maple syrup and vehicles from Canada, to consumer electronics and toys from China, and lots of stuff in between.
47% of all imported vegetables come from Mexico and Canada, 91% of avocados, and about 87% of tomatoes from Mexico. 85% of all toys in the U.S. made in China.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that.
Experts say building materials are also at risk, potentially raising the cost of buying a new home. Reena Roy, ABC News, New York.